starting the day off with sugar water before the ride, and we've got about 11 tablespoons of sugar in there, 550 calories. Today we are going to compare today's session with last week's session, because that's the only point of reference that we really have. So today the average watts doesn't really matter, normalized power doesn't really matter. It was actually quite a fast ride today, 36.2 k's an hour average, so pretty decent speed there. Not that really matters either. What matters is the power that you put on the pedals, the pressure that you put on the pedals. That's what counts. So Tomo actually joined me today, but we actually found out that the sidewall of his tire had a huge bulge in it, so he had to turn around and go back home. So I was left alone. I had to do the sprint solo, and training time here just over 2.5 hours. On the program it said that I must do 3 hours, but because I did 2.5 hours the other day where I had to do 2 hours, I just did a little bit less time, and it's fine. So I'm not actually gonna really check the analysis on Strava, but one thing that was different this week from last week is that the break between the sprints was only 5 minutes, and last week we had a 10-minute break. So shorter recovery time. Did it actually make a difference to the best 5-second power that I could produce? Well, that's what we're going to find out now. Let's have a look at Golden Cheetah here. So this is last week's power for the 5 seconds, the best 5-second efforts, and I find that the average power is more accurate than the number given here in the brackets. So let's look at the average power. So the best one was 962 watts for last week, and the worst one was 922 watts. So pretty consistent effort there, all throughout the efforts. And one thing to also take into consideration is that I was a kilo heavier last week than I am this week. Last week I was 70 and a half kilos, and this week 69.5. So let's take a look at this week's efforts. So the best one this week was 990 watts. So 28 watts higher, and 945 watts. So 23 watts higher. So more consistent, higher power and less weight. So that means power to weight is going up. Now, I'm by no means a fucking great sprinter. When we look at the power profile chart, I am pretty much a Cat 3 or a Cat 2 sprinter at best. So sprinting is not my forte, but the other things I'm pretty good at. I'm UCI Division 1 or 2 with 1 minute power, 5 minute power and 20 minute power. It's actually quite funny. The power profile is like a straight line when it comes to 1 minute, 5 minute and 20 minute, but as soon as it comes to sprinting, it's fucking down there in this shit. And I think it's genetic for sure. Sprinting is definitely a genetic thing. Like my mate Tomo, he's got those big motherfucking calves. He doesn't have calves, he's got fucking cows. So he can put out more sprint power than I can, but that's okay. I could probably squeeze out a lot more sprint power if I went to the gym and pushed heavy weights, but I'd have to make a compromise. I'd have to put on extra weight. I'd probably put on 2 to 3 kilograms extra to get that sprint power. So definitely it's not going to help me a lot on the climbs, because that's my strength. I want to focus on my strength, but I also have to work on my weaknesses so that I can get that up. I want to get it as high as possible. Why not? And one last thing, the max power. The max power this week and last week was pretty much the same. This week max power 1008 watts, last week max power 1005 watts. First meal of the day. It seems 7-Eleven rice never gets old, does it? For dinner we've got tasty shit, noodles from 7-Eleven, and the healthy shit from the market on the street. Beautiful potatoes.